to highlight one point, and that is about what brother was speaking about, the forgiveness, that God is forgiving, that is one thing, and it is yet another thing that we experience the forgiveness of sins. No? There are two things. Yeah, for me, I took it a different way because I used to preach this in my own preaching. For me, these are the times of affirmation that what I am preaching also is in the same line, just as Saint Paul would later, after 14 years, go back to the apostles, and there is a meeting there, and there is a confirmation of what is being preached. So that particular point, for me, I took it that way when that same point came once again. That is, that God is forgiving, that is one thing, and I am experiencing that I am forgiven. It is yet another thing. And what brother highlighted is, if I myself am not forgiving, I will not be able to experience that I am forgiving. It's not because God has not forgiven me. There is already the forgiveness. But through forgiving, through my own forgiveness, right now I am capable of experiencing that forgiveness of God. So this was one main point. Because whether we commit sin or not, this I used to preach again in two different connections, that is the purification and sanctification, that I used to highlight differently. Purification belongs to Old Testament. The sanctification belongs to the New Testament. Purification is because commandments, when we are keeping the commandments, we are purified, not sanctified. Because sanctification goes deep inside. Even when I am not committing any sin, still there is the presence of sin within. So it has got something to do within, deep within. So to say, even those emotional contents that are deeply present, even when I am not committing any sin outwardly in action, still there is a necessity of the sanctification. So that comes to the New Testament. That is, actually the New Testament sanctifies, where which I am also capable of experiencing the forgiveness of my sins, even when I am not externally committing any particular sin. So even for a person who, when he is examining his own life, I have not committed adultery, I have not killed anyone, or I have not stolen, even all those big things are not present. Even then, there are the presence of sin within. So to say, it is because of the presence of sin within that I am committing sin. So the sin that is present and the sin that I am committing through my actions, both are different. So that aspect of sanctification. That sanctification is actually the experience of the forgiveness of my sins. So that part, I myself am into it, because especially when reflect about Romans chapter 7, where Saint Paul himself is very much highlighting, seeing the sin within, he says that there is nothing good that dwells within me. There is nothing good that dwells within me. And afterwards he is telling, thanks be to our Lord Jesus Christ. Now he is finding a way out to be out of his sins. And therefore that particular point, that is what struck me most, especially it was an affirmation for me to experience and highlight that sanctification aspect. I hope I am not becoming so theological, but it is an experience of personal experience of mine, which I also used to share in a different way. Thank you so much.